real estate, sales, marketing, full circle conversations with Andres Olaya.
All right, guys, welcome to a new podcast, Full Circle Conversations. Today, we have a big boss in the house. We have Nick Perry with Seven Figure Cartel. Nick, thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Dude, thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it. Honored and excited to be here.
Appreciate it, brother. So let's start where are we at right now, right? I want you to tell the people where we're at right now, this magical city.
We're here in Medellin, Colombia, the city of eternal spring, one of my favorite cities in the entire world.
I love that. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to why we're here. But Nick, where are you originally from, right? Where did you grow up? Do you have brothers and sisters? What was your family life like, right? Tell me about that. I want to get to know the real Nick, right? From the beginning.
Yeah, I grew up in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. I grew up in a CIA household, so my parents were divorced. I have two younger sisters that my stepdad and my mom had, but they're still my sisters. I consider them full blood. And
so you had one sister, your dad had one daughter and your mom had one daughter.
I'm the only son from my actual biological father.
Gotcha.
So my parents divorced when I was like 3 years old. And my stepdad, he's also like a big part of one of the big role models in my life. He was the one that was in the CIA.
Gotcha.
And my sisters, one's 4 years younger than me, one's 10 years younger than me. And we grew up, suburban America outside of DC, kind of the middle class dream of single family house, 2 dogs, fenced in backyard. And I grew up that way until I was about 12 years old. I had, some challenges growing up. When I was in, second grade, they were like, hey, this kid can't pay attention.
Yeah.
You need to go get him tested.
Oh,
and
no.
so, they were like, you know what? He's got ADHD. So they put me on Ritalin. They put me in special classes. And at that time, I pretty much checked out mentally from school at that point. When they told me, hey, you need to go to special classes, I was like, dude, I don't want to be in some special classes. I was like, I'm done with you guys, right? So I checked out mentally from school, and I struggled growing up in school. I, was basically like a straight F student. I just did enough so I could advance to the next grade. And outside of school, I was always, an athlete. I was always playing baseball, football, basketball. That was a big part of my childhood growing up with sports, playing outside, riding BMX bikes, all that kind of stuff. In my
what kids don't do nowadays, basically.
Nobody goes outside anymore, but that was a big part of my upbringing in suburban America. I lived with my mom until I was about 12 or 13, and then she couldn't handle me anymore. I was sneaking out, getting in trouble, smoking cigarettes, setting shit on fire, always just stuff teenagers do. And she finally sent me to go live with my dad. She's like, you want to go live with your dad? Go live with your dad. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to go live with my dad, because I knew my dad would let me do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
So I went to go live with my dad. Now, when I went to live with my dad, that was kind of where everything really changed. Because
And you were 12.
I was 13.
You were 13, okay. And when you're still on
I was 13. I was in 8th, just started like 9th grade. I was bringing girls around. I was starting to get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Mom was like, yeah, you got to go.
You got to go.
Yeah. So when I went to live with my dad, he was the complete opposite. So we lived the suburban dream, right? And then when I went to live with my dad was a landscaper. So he was living in the worst part of town that you could possibly live in. I mean, to say the least, it was ghetto. Shootings in the neighborhood. We had, police coming almost every single day. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. He slept in the bedroom. I slept on the couch. They were like 1950s build, just like trash. Smelled like straight like methane gas in that place, right?
Yeah.
Old wiring, bad.
Yeah. Your dad was single?
My dad was single.
Okay.
He can barely afford to pay rent, much less groceries.
Yeah.
So my whole paradigm shifted very quickly.
Yeah, going back to that though, why do you think your mom and your dad split, right? Because it was very early on, right? But did you figure that out afterwards? So
Yeah, my dad was just a kind of always just like the they just personality types didn't. My mom's very type A.
Yeah.
And my dad's very chill, like, hey, let's roll a joint,
right.
chill out.
Right.
You know?
Different vibes.
different vibes.
Yeah.
And they met each other in college and had a great relationship. And then like when the real world hit, my dad was not ready to support a family and like, you know, really be a go-getter and get after it.
Yeah.
And so my mom was just kind of, they grew apart.
They split, gotcha.
Yep. And so she found the guy that was type A and driven, and that's what ended up being my stepfather. And, you know, so
you were there with your dad, 13.
Yep. And, you know, when I got there, it was great because I got to do whatever the hell I wanted to do. 13 years old, I'd stay out till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, wake up, you know, go to the bus stop, light a cigarette at the bus stop, you know, go to school. And that was my, you know, childhood. Like I got to do, but that led me into a lot of trouble. I started hanging around the wrong people, started selling drugs, started getting in a lot of trouble, started getting, suspended from school, going to juvie, getting ankle monitor bracelets on. That's why I got this tattoo right here.
Oh, nice.
This is because I had an ankle monitor bracelet on for so long in my childhood. They cut it. They cut it off when I was 18.
You had a scar?
No, I didn't have a scar, but I put this on here to remind myself not to continue to get in trouble.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I was on house arrest basically my entire teenage life.
I was gonna say, I mean, so how were you in school? Were you hungry? Like, were you a young hustler? Again,
I was frustrated.
I
was frustrated because they weren't teaching me anything that I could really use, and I've always been like a go-getter.
Yeah.
With like an authority problem. Like that's the reason I'm an entrepreneur today, is because I have authority problems. I can't have a 9 to 5 where some other grown man's telling me what to do. And you know what the golden rule is?
What is it?
He who has the gold makes the rules. So if you've got money, you get to call the shots. And I realized that at an early age, and I was like, I'm going to be the guy that calls the shots.
Yeah.
So I got to see, you know, my dad's struggling. He's got no money to his name. I'm fucking embarrassed because all my friends are pulling up in, you know, brand new cars that their parents bought them when they get their learner's permit.
Right.
And, you know, they're showing up, they're saying, hey, we're going to the movies this weekend. You going? I'm like, I don't have any money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
They got new clothes. I'm, you know, wearing, you know, Walmart and, you know, hand-me-down Goodwill bullshit. So at that time, I was getting like, you know, angry with my situation. So that's really like, I think what instilled like that entrepreneurial spirit in me was those two things: getting pushed around and getting in trouble. So I was always getting in trouble, getting sent to the principal's office, and seeing my dad struggle. Those two things had a deep impact on me from an early age. And I was like, the way to get out of this is you got to be rich.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I was like,
were you like that right before you graduated, like from high school and stuff like that? Or was it like after high school? Because
before high school started.
Yeah, what was that like?
I knew I always had to, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what way to go about it. But I was like, I knew I had to get rich. That was the only way I was going to end up, you know, being able to control my life and my destiny and my situations. You know, money doesn't make you happy, but it solves 95% of life's problems. Right?
I hate that quote. Money can't buy happiness because.
Well, if you don't think money can buy happiness, you don't know where to shop.
Yeah, man, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was really my childhood. I saw my dad struggle. You know, he would go to the grocery store when he got paid every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He'd go to the grocery store, stock up on groceries. We call stock up.
Yeah.
Groceries would be gone by the next Tuesday.
Wow.
Guess what? I go to the fucking fridge, open up the fridge, nothing. I go check it 15 minutes later to see if anything changed. Nothing. Right?
Yeah.
I was, the Kendrick Lamar song, Be Humble.
Yeah.
We used to make syrup sandwiches. I used to make syrup sandwiches. We fucking take the syrup and the bread and stick it in the, in the oven. And that was,
just to have something in your stomach, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I realized, I got to start working. So when I was 14, I started working. I worked at the dollar store, and I was, behind there stocking shelves, doing retail bullshit. The next year, I moved up, and I got a job at a cell phone store where I was selling cell phones. That was my first sales job. Nice. This is my first taste of commissions in my
15?
life. 15?
Yeah.
So I was a worker. Every day after school, I'd go to work. I couldn't wait to go to work. Couldn't wait to get the hell out of school and go to work. Well, did very well. Within 3 months, they promoted me to store manager. I lied to get the job at the cell phone store. I told them I was 18 because you had to be 18 to work there. And they gave me the job, and I had to choose. They said, okay, you're going to be store manager. It's $18 an hour. And then it was going to be probably another grand
Yeah.
or 800, 1,200 bucks in commission.
Right.
And I had to choose right then and there. Am I going to continue to go to school, or am I going to take this job because it's full time now?
$18 back then, man. We're talking
05, 04, 05.
04, man. That was serious dough, man.
That was serious dough.
Yeah.
So that was my decision. I said, I'm going to work.
For 18 bucks an hour plus it did.
That was the end of my my formal education.
You're like the little emoji with the money eyes, right?
Correct. That was the end of my formal education. I stopped going to school after that. I learned how to get my degree online. I found a way I could get my high school diploma online. So
Hold on, did they ever find out you weren't 18? I'm curious about that.
No. No, they didn't find out.
Yeah.
I just worked the job, and they were happy with it. So I did that for 2.5, 3 years, and then at that point I was 17. I ended up getting my high school diploma. Like I already had it, but they let me walk the state, so I got my high school diploma. I took the graduation money that I had. I moved down to Florida. I tried to move down there, and I failed. I had to come back, and I said, you know what? I'm going to become a personal trainer, because I was always athletic, always in sports. I like to lift weights. So that's what I thought was going to be my ticket to happiness and to freedom.
Right.
And, I learned, through that was not the path, but it got me down the road to where I am now. And now,
Yeah.
here we are.
No, thanks for sharing that, because a lot of people see now the success, the money, the trips, the fun, the lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's like people don't understand, man, because when you're coming up, like you have nothing. I was in a similar position where it'd be my dad's birthday, right? I didn't even have money to invite him out to a lunch, to a dinner, you know what I mean? Like growing up. So it's like, people don't see that, man. So I appreciate you sharing that struggle, because that's motivation for some people listening. Like at the end of the day, you're responsible to get ahead in life.
Yeah, as a man especially, you have a duty and an obligation to provide for yourself and your family, and to create an impact on people around you in the community at large. Like that's your duty, I feel. And if you don't feel that way, then you need to go get your testosterone checked or do something, because you should feel driven to step up and be somebody of value in this world.
100%. So you got off the drugs, or that they were giving you when? And then
I started taking them when I was like 15.
Okay.
Because they had me on so much shit. They had me on, first year freaking ADHD.
Yeah.
So they put you on stuff like that. And then you're like, I can't go to sleep. So they put you on something else.
Yeah.
Then you're like, I'm too tired. So they put you on something else. Then they diagnose you with like bipolar. And then before you know it, you're on a, cocktail of drugs, and you're a zombie.
Exactly.
And it got to the point where I was like, I'm just going to stop taking all of this, and I'm going to start working out.
Yeah.
I started working out when I was 12 years old, and riding my bike to the gym, and working out was like kind of what saved me. That got me out of.
You're like an adult when you were a kid, man.
Yeah.
Go to the gym and everything.
My mom gave me a gym membership when I was 12, and I ride my bike to the gym every day.
Wow, man, that's good, man. They don't do that nowadays, man. That's it. The times have changed so much, man.
Yeah. So working out is really what got me the discipline, the motivation, the work ethic. Working out's been a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
And it's got me to where I am. I still have to work out 6 days a week, or I'm going a little crazy.
I love that you talk about working out, because I have today actually 5 of my team members. I said, guys, I'm buying you guys all a gym membership, right? Well, I didn't even want to leave it up to them.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to the gym right now, and I have a trainer for you guys. So right after work, whatever you do, I have the trainer there before work if you want, or after work. Like, what do you guys want promoted? Okay, after work. I want them all in there together, because the gym helps so much, man. Fitness. How has that impacted, your life, your work ethic, right? Because from that store, you went to the gym. Is that what you said, right?
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. You went to the gym. You became a trainer.
I became a trainer just because I played sports, and I started lifting at an early age. So, I always aspired to be like a athlete or bodybuilder. I never ended up doing that professionally, but
can you show us your abs?
Not right now, God, no. I've been working, getting this office open, doing a lot of partying. So today's not the day for abs, but on the next episode, yes, absolutely.
So you go to the gym. How long were you there? So how long were you in the fitness industry? It's it was right after high school.
Right after
you're
high
18?
school.
Right after
18
18
years old, yeah. From
So
18 to 23, 24.
Okay.
Yep. I was a personal trainer. I was a very good personal trainer. I had a full book of clients, and I trained in a very wealthy part of town in Northern Virginia. So all my clients were, the guys that pulled up in the, nice Mercedes, lived in the gated communities. They, drop their family off. We do, I trained the, whole family. And I realized, like, I got a full book of people. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. training clients. I'm not going to bed until 9 p.m. And I'm only making 75, 80 grand a year. There's something not working here, because this guy is pulling up with a smile on his face, getting out of his Bentley, telling me about the trip he took to the Maldives, and I know he's got that big house in that gated community. This guy's making way more money than me.
Yeah.
And I started asking these guys, like, hey, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? And it came down, they were all business owners. None of them W-2.
Yeah.
Right? I own this business, that business, or I'm in real estate. And that was the common trend amongst all of them. Right? So I started realizing that success leaves clues. I'm not going to continue to, trade time for money anymore. And that's really what sparked me into like entrepreneurship.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, and you meet, since you're around those people, man, it motivates you, right? It's like, I can do more. There's more out there. Like, it's just that glimpse of that, right?
Well, what you see, like, when you hang around rich people, they're not that much different than you. So, like, that gave me validation, because I think a lot of people, they think, like, oh, like, rich people, they're, like, smarter than me, or better than me, or cooler than me, or they have something, that I don't. But then if you go hang around rich people, because I was forced to, because I had to train them, I realized, like, I'm leveling with this person on the same conversation. We're not that much different. This guy's just kind of a bro, but he's a multimillionaire. Like, where's the mismatch here? I'm like, I'm not that far off. I just need to get a little bit more educated. I'm not in the right vehicle, or I'm not in the right lane. And so that's what I learned through, exposing myself and being around wealthy clients. And I'd encourage anybody that's listening to this right now to start, if you're not where you want to be financially, get around people that are where you want to be financially, because that's the fastest way to close that gap and raise your financial thermostat.
Yep.
And that's what it did for me. It opened my awareness and expanded, what I thought I could do with myself. I thought I was never good enough until I got around wealthy people.
100%. Yeah, proximity is power.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly. I say. So where'd you go from the gym, right? Because I believe you went the corporate route, right? Tell me about that. Like,
yeah.
you go there.
So I was working in the gyms, and then from there, one of my clients, he owned a chain of frozen yogurt stores. Previous to that, he was the CEO of Quiznos Subs, which is a huge, fast, sub place, a competitor of Subway.
Exactly.
Back in the heyday, it had thousands of locations. It was beating Subway on the stock market. Anyways, he sold it at the peak, cashed out.
He sold his stock and all that?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And cashed out at 44 years old. He basically semi-retired, got bored, decided to start a chain of frozen yogurt shops.
Yeah.
A few years later. And when he was doing that, I was training him. I was training him at the ground level when this was just an idea.
Right.
So he'd be bouncing ideas off me. Long story short, he's like, Nick, why don't you come help do franchise sales and be a new store opener for this frozen yogurt concept? And I was like, well, hell yeah, I'm looking for another opportunity to grow and level up. Right. And he was like probably my first mentor.
Yeah.
He was like my first real mentor.
You were 23, 24?
Yep. His name is John Fitchett. You guys can look him up. Yeah. Super sharp guy. Silver Fox. He'd be the guy that would pull the waitress that was 24 years old, and I was 24 years old at the time, and they're talking to him,
Yeah,
so, yeah, he was that guy, but he was a really big inspiration to me, and he showed me what it was like to be successful, because we had to spend a lot of time together. We were on the road nonstop. Right. Yeah, so that was my first job, was reaching out to existing franchise owners and trying to pitch them a frozen yogurt concept. We'd bring them to like a discovery day, right? And then we'd get them to invest in the franchise. So that was my first job. And then when somebody would bite on a franchise, I was the guy that had to go get the store open. So I traveled all over the country, opening up frozen yogurt stores.
You're nationwide, man.
And that was another amazing experience because I got to see the entire U.S. And remind you, I was living in Northern Virginia, and I absolutely hated it. Yeah, the weather sucked, the people suck, traffic sucks, pretty much everything sucks about it. It's cold 8 months out of the year, and I wanted out of there desperately, but I didn't know where to go. But I started getting ideas because I traveled so much. So I encourage you guys to travel. Start figuring out what's outside of your hometown, what's outside of your home cities, because one of the smartest things that I did was when the frozen yogurt job cooled off, no pun intended, I ended up moving out of my home city. Frozen yogurt was a huge fad and trend like 2011 to 2013.
Yeah.
And then it dropped off of a cliff. And so when it slowed down, they moved to another concept. And I went ahead and said, you know what? I'm going to take my life in a different direction, and I want to move to a different city. So I moved to Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And that was a big pivotal moment. I exited the frozen yogurt job and moved out of my hometown, which was a huge move at the time. Nobody did it. That was, a very...
You're a pioneer.
Pioneer thing to
leaving.
do.
Where's he going?
Exactly.
Where? There's something else. There's somewhere else to go?
Right. It's small town mentality. If you guys come from a small town, it's a trap.
Yeah.
Right? So I was stuck in the trap, and I was feeling hopeless to get out. And I finally got enough courage to just break out of there with the little bit of savings I had. I had like $5,000 to my name to go start a new life across on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I put my clothes in. I had a clothes, air mattress, and a laptop and cell phone, and a Mazda 3.
You
beater
drove?
car.
Yeah. You drove over there? Nice.
Yeah, and that's all I had. I had no furniture.
Yeah.
I lived in. I called an apartment locator. I said, "Get me as close to downtown Austin as you can for $1,000 a month." So they found like the most like hood apartment complex, and put me in a 1-bedroom, kind of next to downtown, and that's where I lived. I lived there with no furniture, no nothing. And on the drive down there, I said, "You know what? I got to figure this real estate thing out," because it had been in the back of my mind, like all these guys do real estate.
Yeah.
All these guys do real estate. I got to figure this out. And so when I went down there, I started getting on YouTube right away.
Yeah.
Almost out of desperation. I was like,
I'm
going to figure this out and make this work.
That was your next move, like when you got to Austin? Because to wrap there up on the jobs, right? Because you had a couple jobs. I feel like a lot of people nowadays frown upon jobs, right? But like, what skills did you learn that eventually, because you took a next transition, right?
Yeah.
But I think jobs have a valuable role if you take advantage of them.
100%.
Yeah.
And like, I can talk about that next, but the structure, the discipline, how you execute, throughout a day.
Yeah.
If you don't have that as an entrepreneur, you're going to fail. So when I got to Austin, I absolutely failed.
Yeah.
I got online. I started learning about wholesaling on YouTube, started watching Sean Terry videos, hand-rating bandit signs, sending out yellow letters, just burning all the money in my savings account. Remember, I had $5,000. Now I'm down to like $800.
Wow.
And I was really like, I got to find a job while I'm doing this, because I'm about to go broke and have to turn around. And I was not going to turn around. I was going to live in I was going to be homeless before I went back home.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to be homeless. I'm not losing this fucking apartment. So I had to get a job, and I got a job at Indeed.com. So Indeed's like where you go look. It's like a big, online job search engine. Mm-hmm. And I got a job there as inside sales. So they took a big flyer on me, because this is another time I had to bullshit. I don't like to bullshit ever.
Right.
But I was in desperation mode. This job was like 4-year college degree. Like, you got a 4-year degree? I was like, yeah, I got a 4-year degree. But so they ended up taking a flyer on me.
They didn't ask you for it, or what?
They didn't ask me for any credentials. Thank God. Yeah. Thank you, Indeed. But hey, I made you guys a fuckload of money, so you're welcome. You're welcome. So I got this job. They ended up taking a flyer on me. I come in. I go from $800 in my bank account, about to miss rent, to Rookie of the Year, Top Gun, #1 in sales, making $250,000 a year.
Nice.
At the same time, I was taking all my nights and weekends to keep my real estate dream alive. So when I got that job, I had already made up my mind that I was gonna be a real estate investor.
Yeah.
And I told myself, I'm only taking this job so I can get the hell out of this job as soon as possible and move on with the rest of my life. And so I went in there with a vengeance. I was like, I'm just gonna do whatever they tell me to do. I'm gonna go as hard as I possibly can and stack up my money so then I get the fuck out of here.
How long were you there for?
2.5 years.
Okay.
yeah, I could have been out sooner, but I had some life stuff come up that that stopped me from doing that.
Like you said, it helped you gain skills, all right? The structure, the corporate environment, the phone sales, right? Because
that was really where I advanced. And the same principles that I learned at Indeed and inside sales is the same principles that we use in wholesaling, which is inside sales. If you guys don't know, wholesaling real estate or doing real estate is essentially an inside sales job.
100%. So you were learning the phone game, right? Because how big was that? That must have been massive, right? Because they're a big company, right? And they've been always growing.
Yeah, Indeed's a publicly traded company on the Japanese stock market. They're owned by a company in Japan, and so they're massive. They have now, I think, over 6,000 employees. The sales organization that I was working in was, I think, 1,500 or 2,000 people just on inside sales banging the phone. So I got to learn from probably one of the top inside sales organizations in the entire United States. And that molded and transformed the way that I do business, because I got to see how a company like that is run from the inside. And I've taken a lot of those strategies and adopted them into what I do now. And I attribute a lot of my success to the framework and the structure that I got from Indeed, which was very Wolf of Wall Street, inside sales, 60 calls a day, 120 minutes, high quota, high pressure, work hard, play hard, that kind of mentality.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, those skills transfer, right? That's why I think jobs are frowned upon abound today, right? Because everybody wants to be the entrepreneur and have the business and be the business owners, but you can make great money working somewhere and learn skills. Like you said, you don't have to stay there, right? You went in there with a mission, like, hey, I'm going to learn this. And it's what you do now, right? It's what you do now. Phone sales and internet marketing, right?
That's it. I hire, attract sales talent. I build teams. I do marketing and sales. That's it. So my career at Indeed served me extremely well in just seeing exactly what it takes to be successful in inside sales. So I don't take that for granted at all. And I think anybody that's listening to this right now that's an aspiring entrepreneur, or you're struggling as an entrepreneur, there's no shame in going and getting an actual sales job and working for somebody while you keep your dream alive. And when I say keep it alive, I mean, you got two jobs now. You got your 9 to 5, and then you have your 6 to 2. So I work my 9 to 5 at Indeed, and then I had my 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. every single day when I got home. I get back home, I eat dinner, I get right back on the laptop, right back on the phones, and I'd be working on my business, making phone calls until I passed the fuck out till 2 a.m. And guess what? Every single day on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, we're all real estate, all day, every single day. So I worked 7 days a week for the first 3 years that I was starting my business. There's no vacations, no time off, nothing. And there's no luxury penthouses. It was very basic, just work, reinvest in the business, eat Chipotle. That's fucking it.
Yeah. That's what it takes, man. Like, because people fast forward and it's like, they expect it to happen overnight. They're not willing to invest $5,000, $10,000 plus the time, because it's a risk, right? But what was that transition? Okay, so that's when you were 2.5 years in, 7 days a week, full on, right?
Yeah.
But then how was that? Okay, I'm ready to go out here, right? How did that start? Like, because they were like, okay, I'm done with Indeed.
Well, I made a critical error in the transition. Okay, so I started dating this girl in Texas, when I moved down there, and we're dating for like 8 months, and she was working at another inside sales company, Oracle, which you guys might have heard of Oracle before.
Too, man.
She got laid off in one of the layoffs that Oracle did, and so she's like, well, I can take the phones while I'm looking for another job, right? And I was like, okay, you take the phones while I'm at Indeed. You take the phones and handle these sellers, and just keep the business running while I'm at Indeed, and then nights and weekends, I'm in it to win it. Well, we're doing well at this point. I was making $250,000 a year. At this point, I'm making between $50,000 to $75,000 a month in my real estate business, and I've got her handling the phones during the day. Well, we move in together month 8. By month 11, I realized this girl's crazy. She's doing, smoking weed all the time. She's on, drinking all the time. I can't continue this relationship.
Yeah.
So I tell her on a Tuesday, I say, hey, listen, we just got to call it quits. I'm going out of town for a couple of days. I'll be back. And then by Friday, I just, I need you to go stay with your mom, whatever.
Right.
And I actually gave her money. I said, here's 12 grand. Just, go stay with your mom.
Oh, you're an excellent man, bro.
I know.
You're an excellent man.
I'm a saint. I only been dating this girl 11 months. I was like, here's 12 grand. Just go stay with her. Figure out what you're going to do.
You're a keeper, man.
All right. And I get back on Friday. I had to go straight to the office that day. Well, that day I realized, oh shit, I better start locking her out of all my stuff. I start locking her out of all the,
Podios and the CRM.
all the CRMs, all the business stuff. And I locked her out of the bank account too, because I had her in the business checking to move money around. And as soon as I lock her out of there, she starts going ballistic, blowing up my phone. I'm at work, at Indeed. I see her, she's trying to get up the elevator, going crazy. And
At Indeed?
I was like, fuck. And I tried to go back to the house.
Dude, even after the 12 grand? Come on.
Yeah, I'm locked out of the house. She's got me locked out of my own place. The following Monday, I get served papers while I'm at work, and they're like, you're, because I stayed with a friend that weekend. Monday, she's like, yeah, it's a formal divorce from the state of Texas. And the state of Texas, if you guys live in Texas, there's a thing called common law, where if you date a girl, if they stay in your house for more than 3 consecutive nights, they get a piece of mail there, they're on a bank account, technically you are common law married, which means you have to go through a formal divorce in order to separate from that person if they decide to go this route. She was smart.
3 days, man. Come on.
3 consecutive days.
3 nights, yeah.
I agree.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's rare for Texas, being the great state it is. Like that's.
They also put like a temporary restraining order on it, so I could not access any of my belongings, my house. I didn't have a cell phone charger. I had the clothes that I was wearing and like a couple other things, and that was it. So I had to call my buddy. I'm like, hey man, we need to go to Walmart. We need to go get, we need to go get some stuff. Yeah. Because I'm gonna be out for a while. You come stay at my house. It's cool. And long story short, I got a best family law attorney. I was like, I'm taking this girl down. Like, this is fucking unjust. This is terrible. But I got some money to fight the case. No, I know where it's going, man. I kind of got an idea, man. I went ahead and fought the case, and I'm just racking up attorney fees. Yeah, burning through 5 grand retainers. Five. Long story short. What were you trying to get out though? Did she have money that you were trying to come after her for some money, or were you trying to just like not give her money? Her side was, we want half the money in your checking account. At that time, I had like 180, 200 grand saved up. And we also want the house and everything in it. And we want the 2 cars, which I just bought a new car. And I just got this lease. It was a badass penthouse in downtown Austin. And I just bought brand new furniture, like all new pottery barn, $8,000 mattress, fucking pimped out penthouse. And we want the business as well. No. And I said, absolutely not. Hey, what are you? You're not getting any of that shit. Well, by the time it was said and done, I didn't know at the time, but her counsel was her uncle that was working pro bono. And I thought she was paying an attorney. And I thought I was going to be able to just take her down because I was going to outspend her. Well, I didn't know her uncle was working pro bono. Oh, man. And so they just drugged me through to the point that I lost the case. The judge said, you have to give up everything. And the only thing I was able to hold on to was the business. So by the time I had got through all my attorney fees, I had to give up everything. I had 12 grand to my name. So I went from 200 down to 12K. And I had to part ways with that. All I had was my little tiny business that I made. Right. And I was able to walk away with that. But at the same time, I'm closing deals. I'm hustling at Indeed. I'm hustling at real estate. I'm doing appointments. I got contracts, got assignments. So I got another place and I bounced back. I had to stay at my corporate job for 6 months longer before I was able to quit. Yeah. That's another thing about a corporate job is it's a good safety net while you're getting your business off the ground, right? You can afford to do stupid shit like that. You can afford to go through trials and tribulations while you're figuring it out. Yeah, absolutely. Those safety nets, and that's what they're there for, right? It was a setback, but eventually you pulled out, man. Absolutely. So going through it, it was like I had my rhythm of my business already going, and I was already generating money. So it wasn't that bad. Like, it sounds like a horrible thing, but like, it was just like, it was a setback and an annoyance more than anything. You know, I learned from it, obviously, but if I didn't have my corporate job, I would have been screwed, right? So you gotta, you know, I would challenge anybody, until your business is doing well for at least like a year, and you've got at least 3 to 6 months of business expenses and 3 to 6 months of personal expenses banked away, don't quit your corporate job.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and to look at that, right? Looking back on that, like, what did that teach you, right? We know the skills of the relationship, right? But I feel like that built resilience in you, right? Like, hey, I can keep going, man. It's like it's like when you're boxing, you get punched, man, but you get back up.
It told me not to have my girl work in my business, is what it told me.
Yeah, that was the main lesson, man.
That was it. I mean, you know, that was pretty much it.
That was the most expensive acquisitions, Ethan, you've had, man.
There's some people that, you know, you can learn stuff on YouTube, you can learn stuff at college. There's some things the real world is only capable of teaching you, though.
Absolutely, man. So, okay, good. So you get past that. Now, 6 months later, you know, you say your goodbyes, left on good terms, and Indeed, right? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I still go back there and visit when I go back to Austin.
Awesome.
Say what's up to my old team. I still go out to lunch and dinner with the directors and some of the top people that I form close relationships with. So
yeah, they're happy for you, man. I'm sure they're happy for you.
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
big time,
man. That's beautiful. You know, I think that's important, right? To be able to go back, it's like, you don't have to leave places in a bad spot, right? You want to go back to the old colleagues, people who helped you, right? So now you're full-time. So who were some of your mentors, right? You're talking about YouTube, and I love that, right? Because I was interviewing our good friend, Scott Morris, right? And I asked him, who were some of your mentors? He's like, man, my mentors I found in books, right? In books and videos. You know, one of my first mentors, like real mentors that I followed like religiously was Grant Cardone, right? I would watch his training, So who were some of those mentors starting out for you, right? You mentioned that one with the yogurt franchise.
Yeah, John Fitchett, former CEO of Quiznos. You know, I have to give a shout out to, my stepfather, who instilled a lot of discipline and hard work in me growing up. I watched that man get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, come home at 6 o'clock at night for years, never missed a day of work. Definitely in real estate. My first mentor was Sean Terry.
Sean Terry, Godfather.
That's the Godfather right there. Still have a great relationship with them. That's who I originally stumbled upon on YouTube, and that was the first mastermind that I actually joined. And I started going to masterminds. I'm a high school dropout that spent over 7 figures on his own education. So I can go down the list and give you a ton of people that have been instrumental in my life and that have poured into me, along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to invest back into yourself, right? Obviously into the business, but in connections and in ideas and masterminds and mentoring and programs, right? That's where you're at, where you're at today, right? It doesn't come free. But at any point you felt like giving up, right? When you were going through all that, or did the mentors like keep you there, right? Like,
the mentors didn't keep me there. I definitely, in the very beginning, I was striking out a left and right. I could not get a contract to save my life. I'm spending every dollar that I got on marketing, handwriting yellow letters on the kitchen table, filling up envelopes, handwriting bandit signs, going down to the courthouse trying to get public records. Long story short, I did 104 face-to-face seller appointments. This is still when I was driving to houses.
Right.
So I'm driving all over the state of Texas, to go on appointments every single weekend and striking out at every single kitchen table. 104 appointments before I got my first deal. And at the same time, I had back surgery. So I had a huge hole in my back because I had to take out a cyst in my back. So I got a huge bandage, and it's 110 degrees in Texas, and I got no AC in the car.
No.
And I'm just getting my ass handed to me, right? And all I know is, like, you just got to keep doing this. And I remember, like, appointment number 75. I'm 0-75 at this point, and sitting there and just thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe people that I'm listening to on YouTube, they're better than me, and I started having that little bitch voice come into my mind. I sat there and I told myself, I said, dude, you didn't come this far to only come this far. And I told myself, said, what are your 2 options? You gonna fucking give up now? And I said, no, I will either die or become successful. That was the only 2 options. I was ready to go homeless, behind the grocery store handwriting on cardboard fucking signs and pass away and fucking die before I gave up. And I burned my bridges and I said, that's fucking it. Like, that's it. I would die or become successful. Like 50 Cent, get rich or die trying. Like, for real. And I kept persevering, and, you know, appointment 104, I got a deal. And then guess what happened? The law of averages came into effect. I got a deal on appointment 106, 107, 109, 111. They all just started coming in after that point.
You were counting? You were literally counting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I had a CRM.
Yeah.
Like at that time, it was like a Google spreadsheet.
So what was that first deal like, man? What was that? That was in Austin?
Yeah, it was a follow-up. Somebody called me back from an appointment that I did, 6 months prior, and they're like, hey, we're ready to go. It was a probate property. People's parents passed away in it, and we ended up getting it locked up. It should have been probably a teardown. It was, I got it for $18,000. I wholesaled it for $30,000. I made $12,000 on my first deal, and because I had a corporate job at Indeed at the time, I took every penny of it and I just rolled it right back into marketing. I already had my living expenses squared away. I was making money, so I didn't need the money. I was like, take 100% of it, throw it 100% back into marketing.
Marketing, yeah. What are some of the most important aspects, right? Because you've been through so many things, right? All these trials, tribulations, but what are the two most important aspects of real estate investing, wholesaling, right? Would you say it's sales, marketing, networking, having capital, raising money, right?
Man, you hit on a lot of good points right there. I don't think raising capital is one. I can nix that off. It is easier if you have money, by the way. They tell you can do this business, no money, no credit, blah, blah, blah. It's easier if you got money. Everything's easier if you got money. So get that straight. But in terms of what would I say is the biggest key to my success is, one, marketing. Marketing, number one. If you can't get the phone to ring, you're dead in the water. You don't have a business. You got nobody to talk to. So if you had to put a gun to my head and say, what is number one? It's marketing. Get the phone ringing. Get leads coming in.
That sounds like a good shirt to have. Get the phones ringing, man.
I love that.
Like that, right? That'd be a good shirt.
Yeah. You got to get leads coming into your business, no matter what your business is.
Any business.
Yep. Number two, sales, right? Sales is critical. It doesn't matter. You can generate all these leads. You end up being like me and not closing shit, right? In the beginning. So you've got to know how to be able to convert. And once you master marketing and sales, you'll never go hungry again in your life. You'll probably end up becoming a multimillionaire. If you have the network and mentors to help structure and guide you along the way. So it goes in that order. Raising capital, that's also, something like, I'm a credit nerd. I've got a ton of lines of credit and 0% interest, capital and things like that. So that's been a helpful tool in my journey to be able to maneuver and flip properties and do it at scale.
Expand and grow the business, right?
Correct.
So at this point, good. You got your marketing going. You got the sales down. You're closing the deals. So where'd you go from there, right? How'd you start building your team, right? Because now you have people who help you, right? Mm-hmm. You go from Indeed, you get with the wrong girl, right? Because we agree she was the wrong girl. You get some setbacks, start closing deals, and how'd you start building out your team, right?
Yeah, so it came through, going to masterminds and saying, okay, well, all right, now I'm working 18 hours a day. I need to get some leverage in my business. So, my mentor is saying, listen, you need to hire this person and this person. So it started off a couple hires. One being like a leads manager, which I would not advise hiring a leads manager, by the way, but they did good for me at the time.
Right.
And
what do you consider a leads manager, right?
Somebody that handles your leads and then gives them to you to close.
Right. Okay.
You would
skip that step?
Skip that step. Yeah. They would just hire a closer to begin with.
Right.
So I started hiring, a small team. I had, one guy working for me full time, another leads manager working for me full time. So I had two people. The one guy that I had working for me, he was doing acquisitions and closing deals, and he was doing good. But we were having a long time in between closings. We weren't consistent.
Right.
And he got an offer to go work back in the oil field, making $30,000 a month. So he split. Yeah. And I was back to running all the deals. and having the leads manager. And then my CEO now ended up coming into my business. He was actually my intern when I was working at Indeed. So I was a senior account executive at Indeed. I worked the top accounts, and he had, the interns would work with the top guys. And so I had an intern that summer, and his name was Brandon, who's now my CEO. He saw me, and during his internship, closing a deal at Indeed, and then clicking over a few tabs, pulling up the phone, calling a seller, and locking up a contract. And he was more interested in what the hell I was doing locking up these contracts.
Right.
He didn't care about, Indeed.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, dude, just prospect my leads. Stop asking me these fucking real estate questions. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
And he would always just be kind of always coming back to us. I was like, listen, take this course and don't ask me anything until you finish the course.
Right.
Comes back the next week and he's like, I finished the course. And I'm like, what should I do now? I was like, get a fucking marketing campaign out. On his first marketing campaign that he did, he ends up getting a $48,000 deal.
Nice.
And I coached him through it.
What was that, direct mail? Was that mail?
It was direct mail back in those days. Yeah. This was a long time ago.
Direct mail used to hit hard, man. It still hits, but
it used to hit.
I'm sure the response rate was a lot higher, man. Now you're happy if you get 0.5%, right?
Exactly.
Or 1%.
Exactly. I don't do any of that anymore.
Yeah.
But that was back in the day of direct mail going hard. And he gets a $48,000 deal, and he's absolutely hooked.
Yeah.
Well, I leave Indeed, and I'm like, good luck. I never thought I'd talk to him again.
Right.
Calls me 6 months later. He's like, hey, man, this job's pretty soul crushing. You got any job openings right now? And I'm like, dude, I really don't, man. I got, I pay like $500 a week to come be a cold caller for me and take like inbound ringless voicemails.
Yeah.
And mind you, he's working at Indeed, making 6 figures a year.
Right.
401k, benefits.
Everything.
He calls me back the next day. He's like, hey, man, I'm serious. Like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, let's meet at Starbucks and let's fucking talk through this. And I put him at the worst position that you could ever fucking have. He came in the bottom.
Yeah, man.
Where I don't know if you guys have ever sent out ringless voicemails and taken ringless voicemail callbacks. It's the worst. And I sent ringless voicemail callbacks right to his cell phone. I broke his cell phone number because like the calls did not stop coming in.
Yeah.
24/7. So I broke his cell phone, and he still continued to work. He ended up going into debt, maxing out his credit cards to come work with me because he took care of his family too.
Yeah, man.
His mom, he's got younger brothers. He's kind of like the man of his household. He didn't have a dad, so
yeah.
He was
what
a
trooper, man. Honestly, like loyalty too. He's stuck in.
Extreme loyalty.
Yeah.
Been 8 years, 9 years, but 8 or 9 years in the making.
Yeah.
We've had a relationship. He'll be here in Medellin on Sunday to help me open this sales office here. So, it's incredible, what we've accomplished.
Yeah.
And he kind of rose the ranks as new people came in. He took seniority and took initiative and proved himself trustworthy, reliable. Showed good judgment, good character throughout all those years, and built that for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's beautiful to, from him going from, nothing, right? And learning and growing with you, man, because 9 years, it's like, that's real loyalty, man. So he helped you then started to build up the team, right? He rose up the ranks, and then, you guys started to hire some other people, and, you got the machine going, right?
Exactly. So, we started hiring more salespeople, and as they started, he would help train these people up. And as we brought in more people, he kind of continued to take seniority. And that was back in 2017.
Yeah.
2017 this was. And, ever since we've been, that was my first 7-figure year was 2017. And then it's grown from there.
Yeah. So you have your office now in Austin, right? You have what does your team look like? Oh, they got acquisitions, dispo, transactions?
Yeah, we got like 6 guys at the time. We got Brandon, my CEO, who was back then at acquisitions, the team lead.
Right. 2
other guys, myself on dispo. I think 1 or 2 other people on dispo. And that was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how were you able to, you go from Indeed corporate, right? And now you're a leader, man, because now you've created leaders, right? You built a brand. And so what would you say was some of the keys, right, to becoming a strong leader? Because I feel like in every business needs strong leaders, not just,
Yeah, you gotta be the one willing to take the bullet.
Yeah.
Right. A leader, if you look at any 300 movie or anything like that. The leader's the guy that's going into battle first.
Yeah.
Right? So if I say we're doing something, I'm ready to go into battle first and take charge of the situation. I'm very good at coming up with ideas, selling the vision, organizing those ideas, and saying, this is what we're going to do, and going out and doing it. And I'm the first person to put my fucking neck on the line. I'm not expecting anybody to do what I wouldn't do. So I think as a strong leader, you lead from the front, right? And you lead from the back. So you lead from the front, like you're willing to take a bullet for your team, but then you also lead from the back, and you make sure that they're squared away, like a alpha wolf.
Right.
And the wolf, the alpha leads from the back.
That's true.
Right. And they make sure that nobody is struggling and is left behind. So you got to be willing to go to war for your team in both ways. Lead from the front and make sure that nobody's getting left behind, and help, mentor, coach, give them the vehicle to achieve their dreams. Right? It's not all about you. If you want people to work hard, you need to figure out what's important to them and what they want, and how can you help them get there. Right? That's the reason I've been able to retain people for so long, and they don't go anywhere, is because I know, like, okay, this, my sales guys have been with me 4 or 5 years now. It's because I know what they want.
Yeah. You know what they want. You know what motivates them, because it's not always, look at Brandon, right?
Yeah.
He came in earning less money. And
Correct.
he went into debt.
Correct.
That doesn't make sense. Like, people, the average person is like, that's terrible to you. I wouldn't do that. But you know what they want, right? What are some of the things that they want? Obviously everyone wants money, right? We all need money for goods.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are some of the things that you figured out, being the leader you are, that they want?
Money, financial freedom, passive income, to be a part of something, to be able to be a provider for their family, basic things like that. Those are some of the basics. Obviously, everybody's different.
Right.
But those are some of the things that you can, as a CEO or entrepreneur, you can lead with those. Like, I know my guys want to own real estate.
Right.
I know they want rental property. Like, I'm okay. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get you some fucking properties. You guys see the best properties in the nation. Let's
You
make
put
it
in a
happen.
plan together, right? You put a plan. It's like, hey, these are the steps.
Yeah, okay, you're going to need $30K cash to close, get this hard money closed, and then, here's the steps you're going to need to take. So you don't have $30K right now, you better fucking hustle up some more deals. And then next one we see come along, we'll take it down, and we'll do the whole process of going through the flip and doing a cash out refi and getting you a long-term rental.
Right.
That's what you want to do. And we'll coach and mentor you through the entire process. How's that for a 401k?
Yeah.
Yeah,
most people won't do that, man. There's not a lot of places that will actually mentor them and teach them and want them to succeed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's amazing. So I'm sure they're happy with you, man. They you got great energy, right? Great leadership, and it looks like, from what I've seen, it's the perfect culture, to grow and make money, and same time it's like that camaraderie too, right? Where they want to see each other win.
Yeah, and the reason that is because, my guys are ready to go to war for me, because they know in a heartbeat I will go to war for them. If one of them called me right now, I'd say, sorry, we got to end this. I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
That'd be it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what really loyalty is, right? If you become a family.
Exactly.
And it's not just like, hey, yeah, he works with me. It's like, this my guy, right? This my girl. Like, we're together. These are people I love, right?
Correct.
You want to take care of the people you love.
Absolutely. You
And they
spend
wanna
40 hours a week with these people, you know, it becomes family at that point. So
I love that.
a lot of times you spend more time with your coworkers than you do, your significant other, your even real family.
Or your parents, right?
Exactly.
Like your brothers, your sisters. I love that. So fast forward today, right, man? That's a beautiful journey. 2023, 2024, right? What investments are you seeing, right? How are you seeing the market? Because, the interest rates, and then we got one more, we got the second more, and we had COVID, and we have, all this doom and gloom, and, what are you seeing now, right? Where do you see the market? Because you work with people nationwide, and we'll get into that, right?
Correct.
But, what's your pulse on the market? Like,
yeah, it's been real hard to buy rentals. I love real estate. That's my number one investment.
Yeah.
So I'm still taking down real estate every single day. We buy 3 or 4 rentals a month.
Nice.
I own mobile home parks, but a big thing that's been helping me right now is oil and gas. So
Oil and gas.
yeah, so I buy oil and gas equipment and lease it out to
Yeah.
small operators.
Yeah, talk to me about that, because I seen you, with your mobile home parks and,
Yeah.
your oil fields, and it's like, talk to me about those different asset classes, right? Because the wholesaling is great, the fix and flip, but like you said, you want to
Buy
have
and
that
hold rentals.
cash flow, right?
Yeah, so single family rentals, that's hard to cash flow right now with the interest rates being where they are. But if you got capital to park, I'll look at some alternatives. So mobile home parks are not an alternative, but if you can fall upon a good mobile home park that you can get good interest rate and it works right now, great. With the interest rate environment, I'll wait until prices come down,
Right.
or interest rates go down. Yeah, that's going to signal buying time, and I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
But what's been a game changer for me the last couple of years is buying oil and gas equipment. So, like, I own a Cabot 550 drilling rig. It's
Yeah.
the actual piece of equipment that drills the hole in the ground.
To get the
drilling
oil.
rig.
Yeah.
Yep. So I own that rig. I lease it out to a small operator. They pay me a daily rate for the rig, and I get a profit share
Oh, nice.
on what the customer pays. So that's been really good. In addition to the cash flow that I get for being a lender on the rig and getting a profit share, I have a huge, I can depreciate the entire rig in a crazy way. So with the real estate, you can only depreciate it like 27 and a half years.
Right.
This, you can depreciate up to 80%, but you can do it every single year.
Wow.
So I've been able to offset my tax bill by hundreds of thousands of dollars I was going to have to write to the IRS.
Right.
I've been able to offset that through buying oil and gas equipment. So drilling rigs, workover rigs, things like that. Additionally, I own actual oil wells. So I get, I get checks for oil and gas that come out of the ground. And that's another big write-off that you can depreciate steeper than real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta look at it.
You get tax credits, tax.
These are just
and
through,
cash
through
flow.
Texas, right?
In Texas. So I hung out with a bunch of rich rednecks in Texas and learned a little about oil and gas.
Yeah,
through the process.
But it pays to be in the right rooms, right? Proximity is power, man.
Exactly. I wouldn't have had those opportunities if I didn't live in Texas.
Right. It's the environment too, right? Texas is right for that too.
Yeah.
A lot of people doing big money, and the people you work with, right? It's like a chain, right? And they go in there, make their money. Everybody makes their money in that. So America, land of the free, home of the brave, right? For me, it's still the best country in the world. I love it. I still tear up a little bit when I hear the national anthem, right? I get emotional. But we're here in Colombia right now, right? And you've been traveling. I've seen you abroad, Panama, Mexico. Now we're here in Colombia. So why are you traveling? Why are you looking at other markets, other emerging markets? What drove you to that?
Well, first, so I basically got kicked out of my office because I had my Brandon, who was promoted to COO of my company.
COO, okay.
In 2021, I promoted him to CEO. So that means every decision stops with him.
Yeah.
All I am is I'm on the board, right? So I went from being the head coach to the owner of the team.
Right.
So I stepped into a pure owner's role. So I have to let, at that time when I awarded him CEO, I got to let him run.
Right.
I can't be in the office every day, managing his decisions. Everything stops at him at this point. So I moved out of Austin from working 40 hours a week in my office to basically semi-retired. So I lived in Miami for an entire year.
You don't look retired, man.
No, I mean, I'm always, to retire is to expire. Like, if you try to retire, I tried, it was fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Miserable. I tried for like 3 months and I hated it. So men have to have purpose and targets. It's a whole nother conversation.
Absolutely. So you went to Miami.
Yeah, lived the South Beach lifestyle and, was.
Were you dressed in white?
Oh, yeah. I had the whole Miami get up and we, had a blast out there. Really loved Miami, but I had an opportunity to move abroad to go to Panama. I vacationed there and I had some friends down there. And so I ended up leasing a penthouse there and I was like, screw it. I don't have a responsibility anymore. I can do this. I can move abroad.
Right.
So I went ahead and moved to Panama and that was a great experience because it exposed me to Latin America. I got to, experience the culture, learn a different way of life, different language. All those things are, very important. I think people that get stuck in one culture, one country their entire life, it keeps you a little bit more smaller minded.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's why my job is not to be in the office
Right.
every single day. It's to support Brandon, my CEO, so he can be a good leader for his team.
Right. You're more the visionary now.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Yep. So that's my role is to be a good owner, not step on his toes, allow him to make good decisions, be a good sounding board for him.
Right.
And that's really it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm expanding out here now, so I'm pioneering the new office here in Medellin.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Why are you building a team? Out of all places, right? You got Colombia. There's people in Mexico. There's people all everywhere, right? But like, why Colombia, right? What drove you here? And I'm glad you're here, man. I hope you crush, and I know you will. And it's beautiful, man. You're gonna help a lot of families out here. You're gonna help a lot of people. You're gonna bring leadership. You're gonna bring discipline, and you're gonna shape the culture, right? So to say. So why here?
Well, I think there's something about the way of life here where work ethic is instilled a little bit harder.
Okay.
I've seen other Latin American countries. I've seen Panama. Panama, the people there, they're kind of lazy.
Right.
I got a lot of friends in Panama, but like the mentality is soft. It's lazy. United States, I mean, let's just face it. They're like, we're a little bit entitled in the U.S., right? So we've gotten a little bit soft in the U.S., and I just see that old school work ethic down here in Colombia, that hustler shark mentality that you come across very rarely in the U.S.
Yeah.
Here it's way more common, and I love Colombia. I mean, the people,
Number one, people.
The weather here, it's like San Diego year round.
It
right?
is.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
That's a perfect way to
weather.
describe.
My girlfriend, her family lives here. We have friends here already. It's got an entrepreneurial community built in, on top of all the economical benefits in terms of, reduced labor costs, reduced overhead. I can build a large office here at a fraction of the cost that I could stateside back in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
For like half or a third. So that's a huge selling point, is to increase my margin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and it's the work ethic here, right? Because people, they work about 47 hours is the work week here, right? People are on Saturdays too.
Right.
It's
40,
like
that's what I was
stayed.
shocked.
Yeah.
48 hours is the work week.
Yeah, exactly. 47,
amazing.
48. Yeah. And they're in on Saturdays, so it's like, but you would think, wow, people are working more, but people also enjoy more too. Like they take their holidays seriously. They want to be with their family. Saturday, Sundays, like they get together, right? They spend that time. So where do you see yourself living in the near future? Where do you see yourself?
Right now, I'm pretty happy in Cancun.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it there. I just moved there a few months ago, but I really can't tell you. I mean, I'll go wherever, duty takes me. If I got to come down here and, knock shit out, I'll be here.
Yeah.
If I need to be in Austin, Texas, I'll be in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
It really just comes down to where, I'm needed.
Where the opportunity is and where
I'm
you're
happy
feeling
on
good.
the beach.
Yeah.
I love living on the beach, on the ocean.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So talk to me about, what is the 7-figure cartel, right? Because I've seen people that are in the group, right? In the cartel, crushing it.
You can't say that down here, by the way.
You gotta change the name, right?
Yeah, in Medellin, we got to change the name.
Yeah.
But no, so 7-figure cartel is a mentorship that is basically where we come into your business, and it's not just like we give you a course and like, hey, good luck. We come into your business as high-level executives, and we jump in and help you implement everything that I've done over the years. So when it comes down to marketing, exactly how do we market? How do we set up our pay-per-click advertising? Okay, well, how do you hire for acquisitions? How do you lock up these deals? How do you do novations? What about dispo? Every single piece in the business we put into a course that you can go and home study it.
Right.
But then on top of that, we work with you twice a week. We jump on Zoom.
Okay.
And go through everything. So it's small group style. We've got, some of the top real estate investors in the country that are in that, well, really in the world, that are in the group, that have gone from doing 20, 30K a month, maybe a couple deals a month, to now making,
Yeah.
we've got other hitters in there doing 3, 4. So it's a community that I'm super proud, of what we've built, because our success rate's so good, and I'm seeing so many people come out of it and lives change. It's been a huge blessing for me to be able to give back in that way.
I love that. Yeah, we're gonna put the links down below to all that, right? So people can get hooked up, apply, whatever they have to do. So I've seen you big on PPC, right? That's your favorite marketing channel, right? Why?
Because it's inbound marketing. It's people going to your website, filling out your form, and requesting a cash offer.
Right.
Look at the other forms of marketing. These people sought you out.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
It's even if you say like direct mail, right? These people sought you out because they called you and it's inbound. It's not. You went out and hit them with a postcard, and now they're making an active decision. With PPC, somebody goes on Google and literally types in "sell my house fast." They're searching for you out of the rip. Now they go to your website, fill out your form, or pick up the phone and call you. That's going to be a much more interested lead than other forms of marketing. So it's a higher quality lead, much easier conversation, which results in a lower lead to contract, a much faster time in terms of how long it takes you to get a contract locked up, less touches. Your average deal size tends to be higher. There's a lot of beneficial things to PPC opposed to any other marketing. We could go back and forth. I'm happy to debate anybody on this topic, because I'm just a firm believer that's the best in a form of marketing that's going to outlast cold calling, texting. All these other things are having huge issues right now.
And people can learn that in the 7-Figure Cartel, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So is that that's the only marketing channel you focus on, or
that's it, man?
That's it, right?
Dude, I've done hundreds of thousands of. I've spent I can't even millions of dollars on cold calling and texting. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on direct mail. You name it. I've tried every marketing channel out there, and PPC's just been what works. That's what makes the cash register ring and pays for stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So what's been your biggest failure and challenge, right, in real estate? Because now you got the office, you got your CEO, now you're helping people make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people inside the cartel, you got cartel members, you're a cartel boss, right? You've been through all this, right? From when we started, 12 years old. What's been the biggest challenge here, man? How'd you overcome that, right? Because it's truly a rags to riches story, man.
Biggest challenge in business, personal? Well, I mean, I could go.
Yeah, I would say let's keep it business. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say business, man, because
business. I would say trying to grow too fast.
Okay.
So I would say like 2018, we're starting to get going. We got 6 guys in the office. We're starting to feel like we got this down. We understand, everything. All right, let's go ahead and blow this thing up. Let's 10x it. As Grant Cardone would say. Well, I did. I went ahead and hired. I went from 6 people to 22 people, increased my marketing like 5x.
Right.
And almost went broke in the process. I would basically having to fire all those people that I brought on, cut my marketing all the way down. So in our business, which is specifically real estate wholesaling or whatever you want to call it, novations, doesn't matter. But you want to put one perfect brick in place at a time. Right? You don't want to go start doing too much too fast, because if you are not laying those bricks just right, you're going to have a wall that you have to tear back down again. So if you try to grow too fast, you'll take on too many expenses, too much overhead. You end up having to cut back down. You're going to make a lot of costly mistakes in the process. So my suggestion is to grow slow, especially in those first few years.
Right.
Take on 1, maybe 2 hires per quarter. That's it. Don't make any other changes in the business. Next quarter, go ahead and upgrade your CRM and do the whole CRM migration.
Right.
The quarter after that, hire 1 or 2 more people. It's going to get faster. I know it's painful.
Right.
Next year, you're going to be better, right? So now you can hire 4 people in a quarter. Now you can take on, a CRM and a new phone system. But in the beginning, don't put too much on your plate. Little changes take changes in business take time to play out. If you hire somebody right now, you're not going to see the revenue and the impact that it's going to have in your business until 6 weeks to 18 weeks later. So you got to wait for things. You got to wait for the mortar to dry.
Right.
Before you start adding more bricks.
Be strategic and be prudent.
And be patient.
In your moves.
And be patient. Yep.
So, you're all over social media, man. I love your stuff, right? I seen the Dubai. I was telling you about seeing your dogs, right? So what impact has that had on your business, right? With generating leads, relationships. I mean, you and I, right? We went through social media. What advice do you give people, right? For personal branding, being on social, I think you do it really well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's, had a huge impact. A lot of the opportunity and friends that I've made and relationships that I've made have come through social media. And that's where I've learned about all the coolest shit.
Right.
Like, good masterminds coming up. I start seeing somebody that's, really interested on social media. I'll become friends with them. Start corresponding with them. Next thing you know, we're hanging out like we are right now.
Yeah.
Additionally, if you look at my feed on Instagram, or on TikTok, it's all motivational and learning. Right. So I love scrolling TikTok because I'm not watching, people dancing. I'm listening to, Brad Lee, Grant Cardone, you name it. All these
David Goggins.
Yeah. And I'm getting pumped up and I'm getting mentored while I'm scrolling social media. So if you guys are on social media, clean up your feed. Stop watching girls twerking. Stop watching cat videos. It should be strictly there for mastering your craft, whatever that is, and becoming a better person, fitness, finances, etc. Additionally, for my personal brand, it's something that is super underrated. That's your business card in 2023. What do people do? They don't take a business card from you anymore. They're going to look at your social media and say, okay, is this a person of value or not? Fucked up, but
it is.
Welcome to the world that we live in.
It's truth, yeah.
We live in a very presumptuous society, and I don't make the rules. So you better be good on your your actual personal brand, because that's going to be what the world perceives you as. As messed up as it sounds, it's just the way it is.
It's 100%, man. And I love that where you said that. I got to look at the camera and say, yes. Use your social media to be mentored by others, right? I mean, there's billionaires on there, right, that you can learn from.
Right. It's incredible.
7-figure, 8 figures, people who've been through stuff. So use it correctly. So many people are using it wrong, man. I really love that. So who's the real Nick Perry, right? Off social media, the people who don't see on social media, right? What's something that no one knows about you, right, publicly, that you can share, right? Who is that Nick off that?
I think if you take the lights down, you take the cameras down, when everybody, goes home, who am I? I'm just the same kid that I was when I grew up, which is, just somebody that, nice guy that enjoys life, likes to hang out with my friends, likes playing sports. I'm the same person that I was when I was a kid.
Right.
Now I'm just a grown up and I'm doing business now. But some people don't know about me is, I just have tremendous heart. That's it. I'm not the smartest. I'm a high school dropout. I don't know I can add, subtract, multiply, and divide. You start showing me algebra, I don't know how to do it. I'm very basic. And I would say my number one thing that's made me successful is I've been able to put my blinders on in business, and I don't get shiny object syndrome. I've been doing the same thing for fucking 10 years because I'm just a mule. I'm just a stubborn fucking mule. And it's been, probably, some people say a big curse, but also for me, it's a huge blessing because I don't get distracted. I just stay very focused. And, I have a heart,
right.
You're going to have to put a bullet in me. Not even a bullet's going to stop me.
Right.
If as long as I'm breathing,
right.
I'm going to keep on getting it. So
you keep on giving and caring, right?
Correct. I'm going to keep giving and caring, and I'm going to keep going after my goals and my dreams as long as there's air in my lungs. So
I love that. That's what's driving you today, right? Because what keeps you going, man? You've been to the penthouses, the Panamas, the Mexicos, the Dubais, the teams, man. But what keeps you going, right, man? What's that gets you waked up? You're on Zoom calls all day, talking with the team. You're coming out here, building teams, man. What's that keeps you going, man? What's that drive?
I don't give a fuck about material stuff.
Yeah.
I've fucking sold Ferrari. I've had Ferraris.
Yeah.
And a house. I want to give it everything I got. So when I'm
Yeah.
laying on my last day, like when I'm about to go, I'm like, yo, we had a great fucking ride. We gave it everything we had. We had a fucking great time doing it. So that's really what it's about for me.
I love that, man. I love that. So what are some last final words or thoughts here, right? You know, that you could leave with the people watching, you know, that are looking to get started or that have a business now and want to grow, want to expand, get to a level where you're at, right?
Yeah. Number one, invest in your education. You can try to trial and error this shit and figure it out yourself. You're going to waste a lot more money than if you would have just hired a fucking good coach or mentor in the first place. And you're going to waste years of your life and probably hair and all kinds of other things that you don't want to lose. You're going to not be able to spend time with your family. So one, get good mentors in your life. If I ever had to start over again in business, that would have been the first thing I did rather than the last thing. I tried to YouTube university my way to success, and I failed miserably. So get a good coach. Number two, realize that this shit is not for the weak. 1% of fucking small businesses make it past 10 years.
Yeah.
We made it past that in the last, we just made it past that, so I'm very proud of that.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. All right, it's less than that. It's like 0.001% make it past 10 years. So you got to be that 0.001% and know that that's you. Continue to work out, you know, keep your mind, body, and health in working order. Keep your relationships strong. Watch who you surround yourself with, and just be the bull in everything you do. You know, give it, whenever you do something, give it your 110%. You know, how you do anything is how you do everything. So you think you live by those principles, give thanks to God every single day, you're going to be in good shape to, you know, really live a happy, successful life.
Absolutely. God, think about God every day. Pray.
Absolutely.
I think about him every single
That's
hour
the
of the
number
day.
one thing,
It
actually.
is.
That's my life. I've been through a lot of crazy shit. We did not get on this podcast.
Yeah.
And God is the only reason that I've been able to make it through. There's been too many times that I shouldn't have made it that God's carried me through. So get right with God. I didn't mean to turn this into,
I love that. No,
yeah.
God's welcome anywhere, man.
Yeah, God has been a huge part of my journey.
Yeah, I love that.
And
Amen.
He doesn't get enough credit, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna give him credit while we got an opportunity
Preach,
right
man.
now.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. So, where can people connect with you, right? Where can they find you and find out about, you know, Seven Figure Cartel? What's the best place here to get connected with you?
The best place is going to be Instagram. Just reach
Okay.
out to me. It's my name, Nick Perry. It'll pop up, and then you'll see my profile picture. So Nick Perry, REI is the full Instagram handle. You can reach out to me there. I always try to post, you know, good content, lots of value. So connect with me there. Let me know how I can help you guys.
Yeah, guys, follow Nick. He's going to mentor you guys, man. Motivation, all those things. Nick, thank you so much, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
Real cartel boss right here, guys.
Hey,
Take
thank you.
care.
Real estate, sales, marketing, full circle conversations with Andres Olaya.